I asked my ex for a divorce 2 months ago, and I found out a week later that my sister's husband would be his solicitor. I was floored my brother-in-law was representing my ex-husband in our divorce, but I wasn't completely surprised, as my ex had helped my brother-in-law's career a lot, but I was still hurt when my sister told me. I've avoided him since finding out, but my parents invited everyone over for dinner, and I missed them, so I went. I tried hard to bite my tongue, but he kept referring to me as my ex's wife and told me that if he were me, he would stay married because I'd lose a lot if I divorced my ex. So I told him he was a real piece of crap in front of everybody, including his brothers. My sister got angry at me for saying that in front of her daughters, but I was so mad I told her I didn't care because he was a bastard and was taunting me about it, and so now she's angry at me. I've been looking for a solicitor of my own, but I haven't found anybody I like, and I've had cold feet about getting a divorce. I want somebody who can get him to agree to let our children stay with me and get the divorce over and done with as quickly as possible. I don't want to stop them from having contact, but he doesn't have a lot of time for them anyway, and they're both little kids, so it's better if they stay with me. So, am I the idiot for calling my brother-in-law a piece of crap? Not the idiot. Do not socialize with your brother-in-law or give him or your sister access to information about you right now. It could be used against you. I'm shocked that your brother-in-law took this case on, given the proximity of the relationship. Has he ever given you legal advice or represented you in any way? Because that could be enough to disqualify him from representing your husband if you're in the U.S. Make sure your lawyer knows about your brother-in-law and any previous legal relationship you may have had, even if it seems casual to you. It may not be legal for your brother-in-law to represent a client against you. OMG, your brother-in-law is an idiot, and if he didn't want his daughter to know that, he shouldn't have been an idiot. Your sister should be ashamed. I can't stop thinking about that dinner. Wouldn't his suggestion that she stay married because she could lose a lot in the divorce be legal advice? This feels super unethical and sleazy. It seems like an ethical breach of client confidentiality to discuss the case with other people, especially with OP there as the opposing client in the divorce. Please heed my advice and quickly. You need to also retain legal counsel immediately and cut off your family until he's removed from the case. Make the complaint and cease all contact without delay. Tell no one but your legal counsel that you're making this complaint. I can almost get past him being his lawyer if they're close, but even that feels gross, as your ex should understand that he's your family member and shouldn't be involved. But he's bringing up information that he only knows because of his professional relationship with the ex in a personal setting. It's rude and wrong, and possibly could get him in trouble with the judge. How do your parents feel about this? It feels slimy for them to be chill about it. My parents have been trying to convince me not to get a divorce since they found out. So while they're upset with my brother-in-law, they've mostly been focused on persuading me to tell my husband I didn't mean it. I realized we got married too young, and I'm not happy anymore. My parents think I have postnatal depression again, and that's why I feel like this, and that I'll regret it in a few years if I do this now. I'm not going to tell you not to get divorced, because I am divorced from a marriage that wasn't happy for either of us. But I did want to say that postnatal depression is no joke, and if you have a history of it, e.g. your parents aren't just looking for a convenient excuse to pin your desire for a divorce on, I hope you're also keeping an eye on that. If your husband's treating you like this, and your brother-in-law's playing along, it's a sign that something's really wrong in this situation. Of course, only you can tell if getting divorced is the right call, but your brother-in-law's being pretty scummy, and I wish you clarity and joy moving forward with your life. My sister, 21 female, came to stay with me recently because she had a job interview in my city. She was here for 2.5 days, and according to what she told my parents, I treated her abysmally. On day 1, I picked her up from the airport on my lunch break and dropped her off at my place. I was in a hurry to get back to work. My boss said I could take a long lunch because it was a one-off, but I didn't want to push it, and I told her I'd see her after work. When I got home, my sister said she was starving. There was food at the house, so I suggested we go get curry. On day 2, I made eggs and toast for breakfast. I had to work and said I'd see her later and good luck with her interview. When I got home from work, she again claimed extreme hunger. I asked if she wanted to grab a bite and then go out, since I didn't need to work the next day. She liked that idea, but she seemed in a funk after we ate and came back early. The next day she had a late flight, so I assumed she'd want to sleep in, and I also slept in. When I got up, she was laying in my living room with a mug of tea, looking annoyed. I asked if she wanted some breakfast, and she said, "A bit late for breakfast, don't you think?" It was around 11 a.m. I said I was making eggs and she could have some if she wanted. She said it was almost lunchtime. I said there was sandwich stuff in the kitchen. At this point, my sister got angry and said I hadn't taken her out to eat or made her one nice meal the entire time, and it was so rude and inconsiderate. She asked how she was supposed to live on eggs and curry. I asked her why she didn't order stuff for lunch when I was at work or make something in the kitchen. She called me an idiot and left, saying she didn't need a ride to the airport. Apparently, after she left, she called my parents crying and they paid for her Uber to the airport. My mom was frustrated with me and asked why I didn't take care of my sister. She said if money was an issue, she could have reimbursed me. I don't understand what's wrong with eggs for breakfast, first of all. Second, I don't know why my sister didn't just say what she wanted from the outset. Third, my mom said that there's a certain way guests should be treated, and it's rude for a guest to ask, but also rude for a host not to provide. Is that true? Not the idiot. Sisters aren't guests, especially if you have to work. Sisters are, "Hey, glad you're here. Help yourself to whatever you need. I'll see you later." Your sister's a brat, and your mom is enabling her. She isn't a guest, she's family, and she invited herself to stay at your apartment as a free place to stay for an interview. You took time off from work, made her breakfast, and went out to eat. If she's old enough to have an interview for a job, she's old enough to demonstrate a little independence rather than expecting to be catered to. If I'm staying with my sister and she's working, I cook her dinner and some extra to put in her freezer for later, and I pay for the shopping. Sister needs to learn how to be a good guest, or she won't be welcome back. I'm betting that your sister is used to everyone, aka Mommy Dearest, pandering to her and entertaining her. Her expectations were completely out of whack with reality. You are not an all-inclusive resort, and that's on her, not you. She thought you would just drop everything and cater to her every whim, and she didn't even communicate that expectation to you. She is high maintenance. Does she really think she can get and hold a job if she cannot make herself a sandwich? You've been very accommodating. You picked her up, got her food, and offered to cook for her. What more does she want? As a guest in your place, staying with you because she needed to, she should have been the one offering to cook for you as a thank you. P.S. If she gets the job in your city, do not let her room with you. My 23 female family is shallow. From a young age, my parents stressed the importance of looks and appearances. As a result, everyone in the family either models or does some sport to remain fit. The same is expected of any future spouse we bring. Last year, my brother Ben, 28, introduced us to his girlfriend, Gia, 26. Gia's sweet, but she's the total opposite of what my brother used to date, with the main difference being her weight. Gia's not obese, but she's definitely plus-sized. Unfortunately, her size warranted a lot of nasty comments from my family. Most were said behind her back, while some were said jokingly in front of her. The family doesn't shut up about how Ben deserves better and how Gia's not up to their standards. Over the year they've been together, Ben did little to nothing to stop our family from teasing Gia behind her back, only stepping in when they've gone too far, like photoshopping her face onto a cow and making prints of it. I've had multiple conversations with my brother about this topic, and Ben admitted that although he doesn't find Gia attractive, she's a great partner and will someday make a fantastic mother, so he's willing to overlook her lacking. I was disgusted by him. A month ago was my cousin's wedding, and while the entire family took pictures together, Gia was asked to step back and ushered to a different room. She was given the reason that until marriage, no one was allowed to join family pictures in case of a breakup, which I guess some families do, but ours never did. They never had any issue with Ben's previous partners joining pictures, only Gia. After the wedding, I decided that enough was enough and asked Gia to meet up privately for a conversation. When we met up, I showed her all the text messages I gathered of family members insulting her and how Ben did nothing to defend her and even joined in the fun. I told her that I was sorry she had to find out this way, but my entire family hates her, and I think she deserves a lot better than Ben, considering he did nothing to stop their behavior. Gia looked sad at first before telling me I was a witch for showing her the text and that she wasn't planning on breaking up with her boyfriend, so she would rather remain oblivious to how his family viewed her. I later got a call from Ben also cursing me out for telling Gia the family hates her for something she can't control, aka her appearance, and it would have been better for everyone involved if she remains oblivious. They're still together and ignore me whenever I see them, which makes me think I'm an idiot and shouldn't have said anything. Not the idiot. You did the right thing. The truth hurts, so instead of accepting the truth, it sounds like Gia's just going to blame you instead. That sucks, but you can't control others' stupidity. People easily forgive others for being wrong. However, they are less likely to forgive someone for being right. Agree. I feel sad that she's willing to tolerate this behavior. Her self-esteem is so low that she's willing to accept it because she thinks she can't do any better. She's in for a world of hurt because if looks matter that much to your family and your brother joins in on the fun, he will use her until he finds someone more in line with his aesthetic. She'll be left heartbroken, pretending she doesn't know why they broke up. Sorry, but you are the idiot. What you did was not helpful. I understand you did what you did to protect Gia, but maybe talking to her privately and asking her how all the negative comments affected her would have been a better approach. If she said she didn't care, you wouldn't have needed to show her anything else. Also, if you stood up to your family and told them that what they were doing is unacceptable, maybe that would have helped them rethink their shallow standards. This is about what Gia wants. She now knows the family that she's potentially marrying into is not kind to her, and her boyfriend agrees with them. You've done everything you can. The rest is up to her. I would suggest you stay out of their relationship drama from now on, too. Gia's hurt and is looking for someone to blame, and you are an easy target. This is about my oldest sister, Beth, 43. She's the oldest in our family, and I, 32 female, am the youngest. 10 years ago, I learned I was pregnant for the first time. It was a little unexpected, but my husband and I were so excited and we told our families. Beth was a mom of 2 at the time. 2 days after my first ultrasound, I passed out and discovered I had lost the baby. I called and told my family. My parents and siblings decided to come and see me. While I was on the phone with Beth, she told me she was pregnant and wanted to tell everyone to make the bad news easier, and would I prefer for her to wait until they had left the hospital, or would I like her to say it there? I told her I would appreciate her waiting until they weren't in my room. Even after asking me, she showed up and announced to the family around my hospital bed and made a big deal out of hugging every person there in celebration. The rest of the family looked shell-shocked, and our sister closest in age to me, Chloe, asked if I was okay and asked if I wanted to kick her out. I was too depressed to answer. A couple of years later, I was diagnosed as infertile because I couldn't conceive again. I told my family as a heads up because it got me down, and I was trying to come to terms. Beth said, "That's all right because I'm pregnant." Cue even more shock from the family and them scolding her for saying anything even remotely close to that. I'm now pregnant thanks to IVF and a lot of help from fertility doctors and my wonderful OB. We kept quiet on our journey with IVF. Our families knew we planned to pursue it, but we didn't give regular updates in case it failed and waited until we got the positive pregnancy test to confirm. The babies were safe and still alive after my first scan, and we decided that was the time for us. During a regular family dinner, we made the announcement. Nobody knew it was coming, but during the announcement, Beth jumps in, says she believes she could be pregnant again. She wasn't. It wants everyone to know. Chloe, my sister-in-law, brother's wife, and brother-in-law, other brother's husband, are throwing my shower. I told them I didn't want to invite Beth. I feared she would try to turn it into her celebration or make more insensitive comments. They all understood and said that they agreed. Beth found out I was having a shower and tried to find out the info. She was told that that info was not being given out. Then she tried to corner Chloe, who told her that she, sister-in-law, and brother-in-law had decided not to invite her, Beth, since she seemed unable to be compassionate to me or let me have a moment after a decade of struggling to have a baby. Beth then approached me and I told her I didn't want her there. She told me she's my sister and I'm being childish and petty about it. Her husband then called me and said that I was punishing Beth for having kids easily when I couldn't. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's proven at every step of your journey that she only cares about herself by the insensitive things she's said and done regarding your fertility struggles. She sounds like she has a really hard time not being the center of attention. And if her husband dares to say that to you, he's a problem too. They both sound exhausting. OP, don't eat or drink anything your sis Beth gives you. I just have a horrible thought of her desperation to be the one of you two to have kids, leading her to do something insane. Obviously, I don't know for sure. I don't know either of you, but if she was that insane to think, it's okay you lost your pregnancy because I'm pregnant. Yeah, she can do anything. This right here. Something is seriously wrong with your sister. I think she feels like she has to compete with you. Sis and bro need to get a clue. The fact that your other sis and brother-in-law and sister-in-law agreed to throw you a baby shower and totally understand why you didn't want Beth there speaks volumes. Beth is an attention hog and drama queen and clearly can't take no for an answer. How the heck did she think this was okay even once? Besides your hospital bed? Cut her out and cut her off. She's desperately seeking attention and validation by piggybacking off of your misfortune repeatedly. I'm so sorry for your loss and struggles with your fertility. It must have been such a difficult time, but I'm so happy for you now. Congratulations. I hope all is well and you can keep that negative energy far, far away.